Hey, what's up, La Familia, you crazy football-loving nutters? This is Ray Hudson, and you are luxuriating in listening to the Inter Miami podcast with the stupefyingly magnificent Jay and Alex, two lads who are as electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub. Stay tuned, because you know what it's going to be. It's going to be magisterial with an amplifier.
The cross Campana! He's done it again! Taylor, she gets it for Victor Ulloa. It's one up, Ulloa and Taylor! Job done for Inter Miami! Landed in by Morley. 6! It's 2 for Miami! Damian Lowe doubles the lead! Some days you can just sense something wicked this way it comes.
Oh, something wicked this way comes. Stan, what do you think about the new intro there?
Yo, it's fire. You know, we've been asking for it. Folks have been asking for it, but I miss Lewis already. You know, I wish we could find a way to keep him in there. But yeah, it's beautiful, man. You did a great job. That's all I'm gonna say.
All I was gonna say. I'll go ahead and elaborate a little bit. It wasn't Stan's first choice, we'll say. We were a little split on the arrangement of goals, but we did, as gentlemen would do in a democracy, in a republic, we decided to pass the decision to the Discord. Stan, what was the how'd that go?
I got sucker punched just like Liverpool did against Madrid in the Champions League final. I was put out to dry. Johnny, I am very disappointed in you. Just putting that out there.
Don't blame Johnny.
I'm very disappointed in you. Callie, Brandon, I'm very disappointed in you. I thought we were friends. But it is what it is.
You came in there with a pretty high level of confidence, I will say. And subsequently, you're given a big old wedgie.
I mean, I thought it was going to be the other one, and so I just turned off Discord and went grocery shopping, and I flipped it back on. I was like, what the hell? But it is what it is.
You need to be giving wedges to players. Again, wedgie applied. It's a wedgie.
I added that low key as well.
And the soundboard's back, ladies and gentlemen.
It was way too tempting. We'll have to figure out a way to work that in. I was actually out of town for that game, but I wrote that down in my notes. I was like, at this minute in the DC game, go back and find this quote because we need to add that one to the soundboard. But welcome, everyone, to the Inter Miami podcast. I am Jake Kington, joined by, as always now, Mr. Than Harrington. How are you doing, buddy? How's the weather up there?
Better than you guys. We're not about ready to get wiped off the face of the map, according to the news sources. You know, I'll take it. I'll take it. Beautiful weekend, getting geared up for the kiddos' last soccer game of the season, and just gonna make a lazy weekend out of it. Last weekend was too much running and gunning, and yeah. How about yourself? How's everything with you?
All is well. Quinn would finish up soccer this week as well, but they postponed the game due to the oncoming, tropical thunderstorm, whatever you want to call it, tropical storm that's coming. Actually, I threw out 20 pounds of our hurricane supplies because they had expired. So now we need to restock up, but no one's going crazy yet. Just a little bit of a rainy day. But hey, man, we did have a really, really, really good result this past weekend. We are finally, dare I say finally. And the best part about this is we're on the international break, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But the best part about this is last time we got up above the playoff line, it lasted all but a day before I think the rest of the teams played, and then we were thrown back out. But now we at least get some time to enjoy it because we do have this long 3-week international break where we just get to sit there and enjoy being in 7th place and play fantasy in our mind about how we're going to make the playoffs, man. It's feels good. I got to say, it feels good.
You know, I was half expecting to wake up and see Charlotte somehow pull out the result. against Seattle and be like, oh, well, that was short lived. But we're in a prime spot. We're going to have time to get this rest and recovery and get everybody back healthy. And it's going to be a good push through to, I would assume, what's next, the All-Star break, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. And, just classic MLS, especially early part of the season it's really a close race still. These are still crucial games, and you can really, jump up a place or two or drop down a place or two all in one weekend. But, man, we got to enjoy these times when they come, because given the expectations preseason, dealing with all the sanctions and, of course, the first 5 games of the season, I got to say, pretty damn impressed where we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've definitely taken some liberties at calling some folks out who were saying that we were, going to finish dead last?
Yeah.
Or be worse than dead last, which isn't possible. But, if this is your first time around the block, enjoy it, because there's bound to be some pain before the season's over. So
there is.
Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Live it up. Be happy we're in 7th place. I think it's the only time I've actually cheered about being 7th at anything in my life. But
haven't qualified for anything, but we're just really happy to be 7th. And I will shout out, you mentioned Charlotte, I will shout out Raul Rio Diaz for that amazing ripper of a shot he put in to draw it even. And really, that's all we need. We just needed the game to draw, but the Sounders ended up winning it. So, we put an extra point of space between us and Charlotte with, we did it in a fashion that I like to see. We did it against a team that I can say without a doubt, both you and I really respect as an opponent as far as quality goes, but tradition and atmosphere, culture, stadium, fan base. Portland's a cool club, man. There's no arguing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've voiced to you, probably even on a couple episodes of the podcast, I do admire Portland. I would love to get out there for a match one day. Hopefully it'll be for an Inter-Miami away match. But if I'm out there and a game happens to be on, so be it. Their fans tend to be a class act. Overall, the organization's quality. And it just kind of gives us another good stepping stone and even like a measuring stick to, hey, this is where we're at. We're starting to tick away at some of the higher level clubs, quote unquote, that the MLS adores, such as Seattle, such as Portland, such as New England. And I don't care if they're recycling, they're going over the roster, bringing up youth. We still beat those teams. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. We can still chalk up wins against those teams. So to have a match like this against Portland.
Said with a thin roster as well.
Yes, that is correct. With a thin roster, to be able to put up a result like this against Portland, I think speaks volumes to the direction the club's going in. And as I've repeated 1,000 times, it shows that the foundation is setting for the future, which is exciting.
Yeah. Well, here's the good news that will be true for the remainder of this season, and looking to be likely the remainder of next season. We're just one loss away from the fire Phil to start back up. File Neville out, whatever you want to hashtag it, man. It's crazy. There's a love-hate relationship down here. Things can swing so fast, but we're swinging on the up and up, man. I think they said over the past several weeks we've been like the 3rd best team in the league, which is honestly very, very impressive and really come together. And it just makes me excited. It makes me really excited to see what we're going to look like once we have a full. All 3 DPs, or however you want to break it down, two DPs, 3 young DPs, buy one out, 3 DPs, 3 young DPs, whatever you want to do. It's exciting times, and it feels like finally, for the first time, we're starting to see the vision, see the results, and have faith in trusting the process. And that the first 2 years were painful, but that pain is starting to subside because we're starting to see some life in this club finally.
I would say you're correct, but I'm also approaching it with, a pessimistic attitude, because I also know the other shoe can drop pretty quickly. Yeah. Like, no lie, on my plane ride home from the Red Bulls match, I was saying you were there the last time they had a win streak, and then they went on a losing streak immediately after. And I was really kind of fretting that I might have cursed the team again for the Portland game. But,
we know how this goes. we've been through this enough to know you've got to be, you can be happy. You got to be cautiously optimistic at best.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think the only reason, like you already touched on, why we're so happy right now is the fact that they can't hurt us for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
they cannot hurt us.
I literally like tweeted at Andrew Wiebe as like, now that we're above the playoff line, will Andrew Wiebe finally say one nice sentence about Inter Miami?
He liked it.
But they did finally say something. We're starting to get some better coverage in the national press, but still a long way to go. But it's just good. You know, we're not here to gas up the team or give anybody false hope, but sure easier to do these episodes after a win than a loss. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to be able to talk about the fun, exciting football that's being played rather than trying to pick apart a 5-goal loss for sure.
Yeah.
But Jay, you wanted to start us off with the Portland match? You know, want to start with goal scorers?
Let's get it. So late game, fun time though. Got delayed just a little bit there, just due to some lightning. But again, hell of a team to play. We played them last year, lost 1-0. Had them here this season. Game I definitely wanted to go to just out of the respect for Portland. Ended up coming on top with a 2-1 victory. I can't remember. I feel like I might have predicted 1-0, but I'm just happy we got the win. I'm really, really happy we got this one.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you and I were predicting differently because we didn't remember that one of the Chara brothers was suspended.
Yeah. I
want to say I went 2-2. But you know, as I've already hit on, I don't want to beat a dead horse. It's a great victory against the quality club. We played well. We looked well. Little bit of concern once Leo came off and Gonzalo came on, but that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
for those of you who might not remember the glory days of Jose Mourinho, that reminded me of classic parking the entire bus, like punching the air brakes. We're opening the door. This bus isn't moving. That's exactly what it looked like.
Did have a hopefully scare though off the post, which man, the things in my head when I saw that go off the post, I was like, no, don't do this again, please. Just let us have this moment.
Yeah, I woke both kids up at that moment because I was already screaming, "You've got to be kidding me!" And then, you know, we were saved by the footballing gods this day.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, someone has to keep us grounded with realistic 2-2 predictions. You know, you got to just let me fly and keep pushing these messy rumors and let me live my best life in another universe.
Well, we'll get into another rumor here a little bit later, but so getting into the match, 27th minute, we decided we were going to open up play, and this is one thing, Jay, I know you and I have talked about. I love seeing the consistent build-up play, the consistent 1-2 quick pass, boom, boom, boom across the park. In this moment, Chris McVeigh and Bryce Duke were playing combination football. McVeigh to Duke. Duke then found McVeigh, which McVeigh is not the fastest guy in the world, to be honest.
Nor the one you want crossing a ball in. You know, like,
correct.
You're not top of the list.
But that's more of a credit to Duke, where he found him in so much space. I thought he was offsides. And McVeigh's just like, nope, I'm right on in. You know, McVeigh was in the middle of the park. He got the ball outside the box, and lo and behold, Kim Poppy. There was a sighting in the box of Kim Poppy, and the ball got headed in off of a beautiful cross from McVeigh, and it kind of left the Portland goalkeeper. He didn't really react. He kind of just like stepped backwards and threw his hands up in the air like he thought the ball was coming at his head, and Campana just went far post. It was beautiful buildup. What did you think in that moment?
I think it's almost Ivanich is the keeper's name. I mean, he maybe got caught ball watching a little bit, but Leo was also like, I feel like if Leo was fairly close, you know, if I was going to fault their keeper, I'd say, you know, not running out to try and get a hand to the ball before Leo could get his head to it. But I mean, that's pretty much cut and dry what you want off a cross, and just a simple header, composure, put it down towards the ground, didn't, you know, blast it over anything. So set the arena on fire. The arena, what are we doing? We keep watching hockey playoffs. Set the stadium on fire. I will tell you that much. And then the nerves set in, because, you know, you get the belief that, okay, we can do this. We can beat Portland, even though they were on the same place in their conference that we were in the Eastern Conference, sitting at 10. Have had some struggles, but it's still Portland. Still a lot of talent on that team, and you don't feel very secure just being up 1 goal. But they clean up the first half. No goals allowed. Really, really solid. You spoke to it. Cohesion's there. Everyone's getting to the open spaces to ease up on any pressure. Possession's there. Passing's there. Confidence is there, which is exactly what you want to see. And man, the previous 2 years have just been very stagnant play. Not too many passes linked together before returning the ball over, and held on through the first one, and going to go ahead, bud.
Well, I was going to say, one other thing I really liked about that half is most people are going to forget Campana could have had a hat trick.
Yeah.
He was on form that half, and that is also something that we've lacked over the past 2 years. It's been someone who is going to be consistently a threat. The defense, let's say in 2021 and 2020, the defenses of the opposing teams were allowed to relax because there wasn't that constant threat. Mm-hmm. Yes, Lewis would run down at you. Pizarro might make a shifty turn, a cut, and take a shot with the ball. But there wasn't that one where you're like, he can score pretty much anywhere outside the box, inside the box, header, penalty, left, right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just get the
ball. So it was good
to
to see him keep that moving during that half.
Yeah, almost another identical header that he just happened to have that one right at the keeper.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly thought we were about to see another hat trick for Inter Miami. It'd be only appropriate that he gets the next one too, just for how well he's been playing. But as you alluded to, the half finished up no goals. 59th minute, we had our next chance. Our boy Robbie Taylor, who we both pegged to be one of the ones to watch for the season, he was marauding up the middle of the field. I mean, just watching him with the ball, it's so fun. His dribbling, his movement. And I think, honestly, the game's starting to come to him from the MLS level because he's seeing the field better, at least in my mind. He's starting to pick out where he needs to go, how the game flows in the U.S., and it's helping everybody around him. But anyways, he passes the ball off to Lassiter, who rips a shot off the right post. And at that moment, I will speak for me, I won't speak for you. I said, of course he did. Because, he's been doing so well, and then it was like right back to the Lassiter of old, either Skynet or hitting the post. Lo and behold, Robbie Taylor, again, like we're talking about his vision, tracks the ball down in the box and just slots the ricochet off the post back in past the keeper. Keeper had no chance. 2-0. It's the hope that kills you. We were all hoping. We were all also waiting for the wheels to start spinning. Yeah, it was a great moment for Robbie. He's been playing really well late. I'm glad he got another one in.
Yeah, and look, best looking goal? No, but hey, being in a team that was tied for last, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, maybe a little longer than that. Probably actually a lot longer than that, but it's impressive to see this team. And we'll take the goals where they come. If we create them and they're beautiful, like Campana has done so many times, or if they're a little scrappy, and we've got to fight for them and get them over the line. If it's not pretty, it's great. And you already mentioned it with Robbie Taylor. He's really starting to acclimate to the MLS level. That is one of the things that also has me so excited. Is like this team is still not to their level yet. Like this is a fresh team, basically third rebuild. And they're only going to get better. They're only going to get more comfortable. And it's good to see. It's nice to it's nice to have an attacking threat. And now we got wingers and they're starting to become more dangerous and more comfortable. And Campana, obviously, we don't have to really speak too much on there. He's just he's a godsend to this club, honestly. I hope we can keep him for the rest of his career, although that's, definitely not going to happen. But we also have a defense that's stepping up. Ugly at times, yes. Are there holes at times? Yes. Are they scrappy? Yes. It's a bend, don't break attitude. I thought, there was a chance we could come out of this one with a clean sheet, but unfortunately in the 77th minute, Portland was able to get one back, and And they played a corner short, which was curl between the head of Tuloma, and Tuloma basically he was in the middle, just split Mabika and low, hits a header into the dirt between the legs of a big Draco. Tough one for Draco, a lot of congestion, obviously going off the ground and bouncing, stuff of that nature. And then just to reiterate, there was that further scare, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, like the 87th minute or maybe 86th minute, where it went off the post and yeah, scary, but hey, just hold it together for a few more minutes, and the boys were able to do that, and then everything's set in, and I think probably if you're like me, I'm sure a lot of people went straight to their ESPN app, or if you're one of those guys who goes to the MLS app, sure, whatever, but you went to the table to see where that puts us. There were still a lot of teams that had a game to play, right? This was a Saturday game. Although I think on Sunday it was really only Charlotte. But the only thing that really concerns me about our spot right now is there are a few teams, that have a game in hand. I think was it Atlanta has 2 games in hand or something like that. So there could be that late season sneak attack, where they make that game up, and if they get those 3 points, they could, potentially jump us. But
so. Right behind us right now, DC United, New England, Atlanta, Columbus, all have played 13 games while we are at 14 currently. And actually New York City also has 13 played. So there is the possibility some of these teams could come up behind us, as you're already stating, and pip us. But the good thing, to our credit, is the folks that are around us, like the Orlando, Cincinnati, and Charlotte, have all played 14. So it's not like it's not like we've played 14 in a tough group that's played 13. I'd be a little more concerned if it was like Philly, Montreal, the Red Bulls, Orlando, and Cincy that have all played 13, and we're barely just holding on to the 7th spot. You know what I mean?
I guess I probably looked right after the game, and for a second there was a team that had 2 goals or 2 games in hand. I really want to say it was Atlanta, but I can't recall. But yeah, that's a sneak attack you gotta worry about. But if we can keep getting results, and at least have significant months, like, we only have 2 games this month, 1 home game at the end of the month against Minnesota United. Then there's like 7 games in July. Of course, one's the friendly against Barcelona, but it's still going to be a lot of games. July is going to be an incredibly crucial month. If we can somehow get out of July, dude, I'll be conservative. If we can just get out of there with only like 2 or 3 losses, if that, I'd be pretty happy just with the competition we're going to be playing against. But our defense has been playing, up to standard, and I really think we could probably get out with some draws instead of losses, and it's going to be very, very crucial. But man, this is where we get to sit back a little bit, enjoy the national team, but it's once they get back, it's crunch time. I mean, we need focus. This month will break you down, or set you apart, rather, not break you down. 2 games this month, like 7 in July, crucial times for the club. But run us through the stats of this game, and anything that caught your eye in these stats.
All right, so Inter Miami will be first, and we'll go to Portland. So possession was 52.6 to 47.4%. Shots pretty close to being even, 15 to 16. Shots on goal, 6 to 5. Passing, 468 to 410. Corners, 9 to 8. Saves were equal at 4 apiece. Fouls, 6 to 10. Yellow cards, 3 to 4, and there were no reds. Just basically looking at the stats, if you didn't watch the game, you would say this was a very, very good match. This was a neutral football fan match where it was just a good up down the field, good passing, plenty of shots. I would like to see some more of those shots beyond goal. I think that's just a common complaint right now across the fan base. I would also like to see, I would like to see the possession. If we're going to be playing a certain game, especially against a team like this, let's have a little bit more of the ball. Because, especially with a team like Portland, you don't want them sitting on the ball a lot. I like to have seen that, maybe a 60-40, but really not too much I can complain about in terms of the negative. What do you see?
That was a good game. Well played. you know, there were some bad moments, but Portland had theirs as well. Like I'm good with all this. Just really proud and you know, I don't want to keep repeating it, but it just feels so good to finally feel like we're going somewhere, or like there's a general direction that the club is looking to move forward in. And I think that we're starting to get that, and get the rest now. You guys have earned it. Phil's very proud of you. La Familia is very proud of you. The community, the fan base as a whole is very proud of you. And with, you know, solid results come, you know, some extra to benefits to power rankings. But I think you want to mention something before that.
Well, I do, and this was the thing that made me the most excited. It actually made me smile. How many Twitter posts, how many Instagram posts were, if you weren't with us in the beginning, don't bother being with us now. And it's just like, you know what? Hell yeah. We're this excited over 7th place. Like, get after it.
I sent that to
like,
Max Ramos.
Yo, and it's,
I was like, don't come back now.
Was
You left when we were shit. Don't come back when we're less shit.
But I mean, like, it's not even just like Mike Marinelli, and I think Kaylin Kyle even posted, like, you know, this is where we're at. I know she at least liked our Twitter post about that. It was like, folks are excited. Like, if you haven't been here with us, you don't understand what this means, like, to see the team playing like this. So I am 110% with you. Like, it just makes me happy to see the fan base getting behind the squad for the first time in, honestly, I'll say it, for the first time in 3 years, it finally feels like the fan base is with the squad 110%.
Yeah. I mean, it's been, it's been tough. It's been I can speak on behalf of everyone, every single person inside La Familia, inside the community. It has been tough. It has been painful, but we have been unwavering. And this is what sticking behind a club means. And then when those moments come, they're so much sweeter because we know the flip side. We know the alternative all too well. So now that we're finally being able to leave the stadium with real smiles of joy, you know, even in losses, you know, a lot of people walk out there having a smile on their faces. It's just a good time with everyone who, you know, shares the passion. But man, you get to walk out there, you're just exuberant, you're happy. It's great. It's absolutely great. The Phil was extremely happy. Leo was man of the match, so he was the one interviewed. Very, very happy. Actually spoke to his father outside as I was waiting to go in, and he said that Leo's he's happy. He feels like this is where he belongs. I asked Leo about it in the press conference, comparing that to you know, his pretty quick rise in Ecuador, and then going over to Wolves only to be loaned out 2 times and not really getting the time or the results that he needed, and then you know, contrasting that with his time at Inter Miami where he's getting the exposure, getting the results. Now he you know, was called up to the Ecuador men's national team, played a game last night that you know, he played for the first half, and you know, watch that, and he was you know, showed good form in the first goal, but he you know, he said, like, this is his main goal is the World Cup. And for him, he needed to find a situation where he could get to that point where he could get the minutes, show what he can do, get the goals, the assists, get the recognition. And now he's being called up. So it's great. I'm really curious on, I mean, I know he's happy. I know he feels like, you know, this is where he belongs right now, but I'm just really curious on what his aspirations are post World Cup, right? Because yes, we do have the option to buy. I think we're pretty much goes without saying, we're going to be exercising that option. Now, I'm not sure if the length of contract or anything is already stated in the contract. I would probably imagine there's a lot of room to wiggle and negotiate, but if we can somehow get him for another 2 or 3 years, I would be pretty surprised. Keeps this form, why there wouldn't be another European team that would try and take him in.
And that's another good thing that we really haven't even touched on, Jay. His form, yes, it's great. He's also up there in the Golden Boot race, which is absolutely wild. Like, we actually have somebody up there. I think he was tied for 4th in a pretty congested battle with 7 I think it was 7.
He's
he
got
had.
7.
When
and I think 2 assists. But I saw the MLS article did not include him. It was like top 5, and I think he's right on the fringes there. But if he continues at that pace, he should be right there.
And I think I was thinking of it more when we were talking about he possibly could have a hat trick. I was like, man, he could be right up top 2, top 3. So, I mean, again, I will speak on top of what you said for all of La Familia. Sign him up. Yeah. Just sign him up. And if it's 3 years, sick. All right.
As long as he can maintain, stay in the race. I mean, you look at like the last 6 games of the season. I mean, Orlando, probably going to be a difficult rivalry game, right? But then Chicago, Columbus, DC, Toronto, all struggling. And you're right. He could score a brace or a hat trick. It seems like in almost, every game he's getting significant minutes. And that might be that he might have a pretty friendly schedule towards the end of the season to be able to sneak in some extra goals to really separate himself. But just to have a player who's in contention is insane because we don't know what that's like. It's last year, we were seeing some players on the team of the week, but I think this season it's been like 5 consecutive weeks with players on the MLS team of the week. So like everything it's just pointing in the right direction and it feels good. Now look, man, I'm telling you, it's going to get tough. It's going to get tough here. June, we're playing Atlanta, although Atlanta's been, God bless their souls, dude. God
Infirmary
bless
FC.
Their physios deserve like Nobel Peace Prizes. They are triaging like it's World War I over here. It is insane. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at your expense, Max. I know you're probably listening. You guys are getting just crushed with like serious injuries, but
I didn't think I would see worse physios than the Dortmund physios from a couple of years ago where Dortmund had like everybody injured. And then Atlanta's like, hold my beer. Yeah. I got this. Like they're stepping outside, getting hit by a ray of sunshine and being down with an ACL tear for the next 6 months. Like it's bad.
It was like the Baltimore Ravens preseason, where like all 3 of their running backs tear their ACL. You're just like, what the hell? Are you guys just taking sledgehammers to their knees? Like, how does that even happen? But it, that should be a fairly easy game. They're gonna 2.5 more weeks to rest up and hopefully heal up before they come back. But Joseph is back. Max says he's been playing well, so can't ever underestimate good old Josef Martinez. He's an absolute beast. After that, like I mentioned, we do have the home game against Minnesota. That's on the 25th of June. Then we go into July, which is going to be a gauntlet. I'm looking at it like, that's a pretty damn big jump. But at the same time, form's good. And I'm kind of the mind, like I want to see us run, back to back weeks, right? Or 6 games in July, not 7, but now we're about to get a whole month, 6 games in a month where we're going to see the resolve of this team. Sorry, 6 MLS games and then the 1 Barcelona game. But we're talking about
that's right.
FC Dallas, Orlando, which we're going to be really hungry in that after that Open Cup match. Then we're going to have Philadelphia. We're going to have Charlotte, which hopefully we can get our revenge on. Then we're going to have the boys of New York City FC, who ain't no joke right now. And then, a revenge game against Cincinnati, who put it 3-0 or 3-1 on us, whatever it was earlier in the season.
Yep.
I'm really anxious to see how we stack up and how we hold up with this level of competition, not to mention one of the best clubs of all time in Barcelona, even if it's their B or C squad, is still going to be brutal. But we're about to test our mettle. We're about to cut our teeth, and we will reconvene. The last game against FC Cincinnati is July 30th. So we will reconvene July 31st and we'll know basically where we stand. And we should have a pretty good indicator of what the remainder of the season is going to look like.
Well, I'm not too worried about that Barcelona game because probably by the time that match comes around, PK will finish sleeping around with the rest of the team's moms, and there'll be so much discord that it's just not gonna bode well for Barca. But, right. I had to throw that in there.
Just want to go there. Right.
But no, looking at it from my standpoint, I'm actually intrigued with the Dallas matchup. That's going to be a really good one to watch. Dallas has been playing really well lately. Orlando City, who are you? Don't care, whatever. Philly will be looking to bounce back from the. I mean, I know it sounds weird saying bounce back from a draw, but looking back at that match, Philly statistically had us on the ropes. Drake just balled out. So, Philly will be looking for a little bit of blood. We'll be looking to beat Charlotte. And then I will actually be at that gross cesspool of a stadium, Yankee Stadium, for New York City, Inter Miami. Looking forward to that. I do have a lot of respect for Tati. I do not have any respect for city groups. So looking forward to that. And then Cincinnati. Cincinnati's hot and cold, man. Like that Katy Perry song, you're hot and you're cold, you're yes and you're no. They're I almost feel bad.
Depends on what Lucha Casa and Brandon Vasquez want to do that week, because it is hit or miss.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I'll say I respect Maxi Morales though. I'll let Tati and Maxi slide from NYCFC. They also have a gang of Brazilians. They call it the Brazilian Mafia, like 7 Brazilian players, which I'm like, yes, bring that to us.
Dude, I'm forgetting his name.
Talis Magna?
Callens. No, Callens. I like him as a defender too.
Yeah, he is shredding.
Yeah, but Citigroup, go pound sand. I'm done with you. I think everybody in the world is done with Citigroup. The only good thing that they did for us was keep Liverpool from winning the title.
Is it better for us? It's bitter either way when it's those two, Like, can we just
it is. But looking at the historical trophy counts, looking at the historical Liverpool trophy counts and United trophy counts, if that means City needs to win one to keep them away from like a quadruple or a treble or a double, like I'm going to root for City. I hate saying that. Like, I just threw up saying that. But getting back to it, let's take a dive into the rankings. So power rankings were out. We're slowly but surely we're making our way downtown.
You're going to read off the ESPN. I'm going to give them the MLS.
I pulled off the MLS, sir.
No, this is the ESPN, I believe, because I'm looking at the MLS, because the MLS is typically a little more friendly to us. So I'll start. You can fact check.
Yeah,
because you're 20th here. We are 17th now, baby, which makes sense considering we're in 7th place. So across both conferences, technically it'd be like 14 if your math's accurate. But hey, 17 creeping up there. I mean, teams below us are teams that have been pretty damn good over the past few years. Talking about Minnesota United, Columbus Crew, Atlanta United, Charlotte starting to have a little bit of a stalling moment. Also, they just fired their coach because a potential DP candidate, I guess they were wanting to sign him. He said he wasn't coming if the coach was there. So he's no longer there. But then we got Portland Timber beneath that, San Jose, Vancouver, DC United, Toronto, Chicago, and of course, even though Seattle's having such a rough season in the MLS because they focused on the CONCACAF Champions League, Seattle is still way up there. Wow, at 6. So we'll take the improvements where we can, and we're getting there. Once you start to see the national news outlets have positive things to say, changes in the air.
I know they're also going to be quick triggered to be, this is going wrong. Screw Miami. Ha ha ha.
Oh yeah. They'll say like the wheels could fall off at any moment, which, historically speaking, when I say historically, I mean 2 years of history speaking, very true. Could happen.
Which I honestly think that they are looking forward to, though, if, I don't know. I don't want to go down that road. We're looking good. We're moving up. We're moving past teams we want to move past. Like you said, actually, I had it wrong. I don't know where I got 20th. ESPN has us at 19th, ahead of Portland, Columbus, Charlotte, Toronto, Vancouver, San Jose, Chicago, Sporting Kansas City, and they have DC United dead last.
R.I.P. So number 19 or 17 on the board. Number 1 in your heart, especially if you're listening to this podcast. But go ahead, break us down where we sit in the Eastern Conference. I think we already outlined this, but go ahead and just recap real quick since we're here.
Playoffs? We're talking playoffs, baby.
I deleted that sound bit for the Ray Hudson one.
Hey, that's fair. Yeah, so not to beat a dead horse here. 7th place, 2 points ahead of Charlotte and Columbus. 1 point behind Cincy, not City. I got City on the brain now. Community Shield wise, Jay fact check me, 16th out of 28. We have moved up 3 spots from what I understand. Again, looking pretty good. One thing I am actually super thrilled about when it comes to looking at both of these, that goal differential that you and I were talking about, like, don't look at it. Mm-hmm. It's trending in the positive direction.
It is. And we just need one ball out game, maybe 4 goals, 5 goals, and we'll be right where we need to be. Seriously, I'm not playing. If we can win the next 2 games, shoot, we might be right on the outside of the top 10. Maybe they're generous and crack in. I mean, it is a close race, depending on what happens to the top. Here we go, baby. Here we go. But special little pivot action here. You probably noticed that the icon looks just a little different. It's, we're going to go ahead and say it is also because of Memorial Day, because we also love America so much. But it's an international break. We want to have some fun. We're not going to have much to talk about. We could just take 3 weeks off, maybe get our sanity back, spend some time with our families. But why? Why deny the listeners coverage of the U.S. men's national team? Because we're getting hyped. Right now, we would be playing World Cup, would be probably kicking off in maybe this weekend or next weekend. But, it's Qatar, hot as hell in the summer. So they moved that to November to give it a little bit cooler of an atmosphere. But got some international friendlies that we're rolling out right now. U.S. men's national team did play Morocco. What day was this? My days are still blurring together. Wednesday, I believe. Sound about right?
Yes. Yeah, I do believe so.
Have still not gotten a grasp on the concept of linear time since the pandemic started. Come out, play Morocco. Morocco, in the previous 2 appearances, this was the 3rd time we played Morocco, and they won the first 2. A little bit of a sketchy start, but we come out. We actually get a 3-1 win. Goals by Brendan Aronson, which was set up by my boy. I can't say my boy. He's your boy. And you're not, you're a Manchester fan. You don't even like Chelsea, but you're from Pennsylvania, and everyone in Pennsylvania loves Christian Pulisic. He's a damn near national treasure at this point. Beautiful, shifty play, cuts across in the box. I thought he was going to have a go with his left, sees Brendan Aronson coming into the box. Easy layoff, easy goal, boom. That was 26 minutes. Only 6 minutes later, Tim Weah, man. That dude is such a foot on him. He can get some power behind that ball. Rips one from the right side, top box. Keeper honestly could have stopped it, but there was a lot of venom behind it. Just rolls off his hand into it. And we were shocked. We were like, man, this keeper is trash. And then I don't know how many people honestly followed the Moroccan national team. I didn't realize their goalkeeper had won Keeper of the Year in La Liga. And I know some people were criticizing La Liga, the league as a whole, but still a good keeper. Again, should have stopped that and then go to the second half. Beautiful play inside the box. Christian Pulisic gets it at his feet, sees one coming in from behind, and just kind of moves slightly to the right to get the contact he needed. Clear, nailed on pin. Surprisingly, though, Christian goes up, he does his thing, and this is kind of what has happened at Chelsea in the past is someone basically dummies like they're going to take the penalty just to get all the smack talk out of the way. Everyone's trying to play their mind games at this point. He turns around, gives the ball to Haji Wright, who scores his penalty, converts, gets his first international goal in the books, which is a big moment. And the keeper, I was literally laughing watching this because the keeper went all the way to his left, all the way to Haji's right, and was just standing there. And then as he's getting ready to take the penalty, comes back to the middle, and then he does the whole left right. Looks like one of those inflatable silly string guys you see outside car dealerships, but actually guesses the right way. But Haji, a lot of accuracy, a lot of power on it, puts him past. Overall, pretty impressed. Weston McKennie was back. played just like a little bit, like 15 minutes, but Brendan Aronson really held it down, playing that number 8 role quite well. Pulisic is doing his thing. Defense, I was watching this game, and I just really, really hope that Gio Reyna heals up before the World Cup, because, man, the U.S. is getting some talent now, and this is kind of one of those things where, there's only going to be 20, what's the number? 26? I think 26 people that make the actual squad. So these are kind of like, you could think of it like final cuts almost, right? This is the last chance to see maybe where some of these supplemental players will be, where you need them. Nice little, Aaron Long got some play time coming back from his injury, which was good. I thought we looked pretty solid. Matt Turner, I think, overtook as our number 1 goalkeeper. Zach Steffen did not play. I believe he's dealing with an injury. I'm not a massive Zach Steffen fan. Part of that is because he plays for City, but also I just don't think he is the best number 1 option. I think Turner has definitely earned that. And then even outside of that, I think Ethan Horvath is a hell of a player as well. But what do you think about the game, the result? It's tough because as we qualify, we play a lot of smaller Caribbean countries or, Central American countries that aren't really of the talent level, say like the Europa or Europe friendlies that you would get, or like what they're doing in the Nations League, where you're getting some good matchups here. Like the Netherlands beat Belgium 4-1 today, right? Those are both 2 scary squads. I think this coming game against Uruguay, that's the next one we're playing, that's going to be the first real test against, I think, a really solid team. Mexico lost 3-0 to Uruguay on Thursday. So yesterday. So, we beat Mexico and it feels great, but like, I think they're struggling. So this Uruguay game is going to be a good test, and hopefully we'll see where we stand at the end of it. What do you think, though?
Well, going back to that Mexico game for real quick, it's going to be a bigger test than most folks think, because Mexico didn't really like sniff the ball throughout the most of that game. Uruguay came in and just put them to the sword early. They asserted their dominance, and it was game, set, match before Mexico could even blink an eye. In terms of our game, I'm happy with the result. I like seeing Puli out there doing his thing. The LeBron James of soccer. It was out there stringing passes, finding his teammates. Looked good. I was actually really happy with him passing the ball off to Haji Wright. Haji Wright's been struggling. Their former U17 teammates from the 2015 roster. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I know or I don't, but, Pulisic probably was like, hey, you know what? Wright needs this moment to get his spirits back up, to get him back in the right mind frame. Give the kid the ball. Let him shoot. Let him score. You're up 2-0 against Morocco. If you're up 3-0, great. If you're not, so be it. In terms of the defense, you're looking for Gio Reyna to come back. And I'm partially biased, as I've said before, to the Syracuse connection, but I really can't wait till Miles Robinson gets himself fixed up, patched up. I know it's not going to happen.
It's weird how they alternated ACL injuries.
Yeah.
Like Miles Robinson came in because Aaron had torn his ACL, and then kind of like reverse flip side. But there's a relationship there of Aaron now comforting Miles. It's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah. Well, it's going to, not to read too far to that either, but it's going to help the team bond even further. It's going to allow the team to be like, hey, I know what you're going through. Let me help you out. But all in all, I'm kind of where you're at with this, like a great win. But at the same time, it's Morocco. Let's see Uruguay. Let's see. I'm not saying we're taking out in Italy, but let's see higher caliber teams, because I think the fan base gets too comfortable with the results of the team because we play Trinidad and Tobago, St. Martin's, Jamaica, and it's no slight to any of those teams. Don't take it like that. But in the grand scheme of things, they are not on the same level as a Netherlands, a Belgium, a France, and England. We need to see us start playing more highly touted teams in terms of FIFA ranking.
Agree.
But like I said, I'm happy with it. The team in years past could have easily imploded during this game. So, good start to the international break. Let's keep it up, keep the momentum up.
Yeah, it's just fun because it's like we have so many players who play internationally now. You know, like just the last World Cup we were in, 2014. It's like, you know, Julian Green or Jermaine Jones. Oh my gosh, Julian Green was, playing with Bayern Munich at the time. And, Jermaine Jones coming from Germany. It's always been like MLS guys and then sprinkled in with just a couple guys playing in Europe. And now today, it seems like almost everybody's playing in Europe, and then there's only really a few MLS guys that are sprinkled in there. But Sunday, 5 p.m., Sunday, June 5th, 5 p.m., USA, Uruguay. Going to be a really, really good game. I'm really excited to see this. I know Cavani will probably test our mettle pretty well. And then following that, on June 10th, Friday, we play Granada. So fully expect a win there, but be pretty concerned if that didn't happen. And then shortly after that, 4 days later, June 14th on Tuesday, we're going to play El Salvador. Now, the Granada and El Salvador games are of the CONCACAF Nations League. So match day 3 against Granada, match day 4 against El Salvador. Then that gets paused basically until March 24th of 2023. And then we're going to have, the World Cup's going to start, baby. The World Cup is going to start. First game to be determined. We're going to have the playing rounds, but that will be November 21st at 2 p.m. And then, of course, we're getting England. England, baby. November 25th. I don't know what day Thanksgiving is. It's probably like the 23rd or 24th. But that's going to be a good time where the whole family is around. That's going to be a good game to watch. England probably wants to destroy our souls. We have played well against them. I think going back probably to 2010 when we beat them. Like, yeah, they're definitely going to want some revenge there. They always say, "Oh, it's coming back home," and then drop the ball. I mean, I see you shrug. I know I always forget like that's your second team. It's U.S.
No,
and then
no,
the old king.
Flip it.
Okay,
flip it. I was an England fan long before I was ever watching USMNT national team.
Okay.
And the quick backstory is, and you know this as well as I do, we saw those guys playing on FIFA. We saw those guys playing on our respective teams. I was like, you know what? I want to see what national team they play for. And then back when we were growing up, the England teams were pretty fire.
Yeah, they were.
And then they took a dip off into the early 2000s. I'll tell you, I'm going to try and be a neutral that game because I honestly want.
Oh, shut up! Up! You're going honestly, USA there. Look, I feel you. I do the same thing with Brazil. I do the same thing. Like that's US didn't exist. That's who I'd be repping. Rocking with them since I think I first went to Brazil in 2006. But hey, don't get it twisted. I love you. I love the Canarinos, but hey, you come play the US, baby. It's America all day long. England has World Cup championships. Brazil's got 5. Like we don't have one World Cup. We've never even have we ever been in the semifinals? I don't think so. Maybe the quarterfinals if you go back, but like you gotta go US here, man. Stop being a commie.
I mean, I'm going to plead the fifth. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Run us through stats though, real quick.
I mean, do you want a commie reading through American stats? I don't know. Let's see what we got here. All right. So this is U.S. men's national team to Morocco in terms of stats. Possession, 53%, 47%. Shots, 11-22. 22 shots for Morocco. Damn. Shots on goal, 10-8. That's where we got them back. They're having issues. They were definitely having issues. Like they were getting the shots, but it was Shank City all over the place with those. Corners 4-2, saves 8-7, yellows 6-10. I'm sorry, fouls 6-10, not yellows. Yellow cards were 3-4, and no red cards. So again, pretty even game, but that's what I'm saying with Miles Robinson coming back. It would be great to see that back line tighten down a little bit. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
This isn't going to be the starting team we see. So again, I think we were testing out their substitutions, trying to find out who the final players are going to be to fill out the build. So felt good, good win. Good to see the team trending up, and we'll continue to track this as it goes. Again, there's not going to be any Inter Miami games, so we're gonna try and tighten up and become some U.S. men's national team pseudo podcaster journalist creatures. I don't even know how to refer to myself here. All right, moving on though. Than buddy, bring us up. What's there's some news here. There's some good news for the Inter Miami Academy. What's going on?
Yeah. So we're looking at the U12, U13, and U14 squads competing at a pretty big deal. It's the Patterson Cup down in Kansas City. They are going to look to build off of their recent success over the springtime, continue on a pretty solid campaign for every one of the academy squads. It's gonna be one of those things where mum's the word unless they do well. So, I'll try to keep us updated as we see. But best luck to those three squads. Inter Miami II, they actually fell to New York City FC 2-1. The positive light would be Quinteros, scored off a beautiful cross from some guy, Romeo Beckham. I don't know who he learned to take his free kicks and his corners from, but they look pretty good. Jokes aside, I know I haven't been high on him, but if he can continue to rip in corners like that, he might help alleviate our set piece woes.
Just imagine 5 years down the road, he's playing for the first team and bangs in a free kick just like Daddy did. Man, dude, the stadium would be set on fire.
Just like that beautiful England goal against Greece to send us to the World Cup. Yeah. Anyways, Inter Miami 2 also had a player called up to the Jamaican U20 national team. Congrats to you, Kobe Thomas. Well deserved. And Jovan Jones was called up to the Trinidad and Tobago squad. So, again, I know people are probably sick of me saying this. I don't care. Welcome to our podcast. The amount of folks getting called up across the board is what I was talking about even last year with that foundation. The foundation's building. We're getting these youth kids set up. Like, the national teams are seeing who we have and what Inter Miami offers to the players. So this is great. Any amount of call up or any person getting called up is great news for us, in my opinion.
Calling it. We're winning the MLS Cup in 8 years. with the way the academy is playing, I'm making that call now. 8 years from now, if I'm hopefully still alive, come find me and let me know how that prediction went. I'm just going off the U12s being 20. Like, it seems that between U12 to U15, crazy competitive. And now we're seeing these academy and IMCF II kids get called up to their national team. Just another reason to be excited. Just another reason why the future is bright and the pain was worth it.
Well, and it's not even, I know everybody was excited for Felipe Valencia, but honestly, and it's no knock against him, good kid, doing well. But right now, some of the talent coming up behind him is equal or better than where he was at that age. So if we have all of that talent coming up through, it's phenomenal. Like, it's going to be great. We're setting the precedent for what an academy should be. And I know it's really early saying that, but the results are speaking volumes.
They are. And we're going to get homegrown contracts. We're going to get cheap contracts. I think Valencia's was like 60,000 or something like that when it happened. So, hopefully we get some of these kids that get some minutes in the first team and really develop. And for the first 2 or 3 years, they're on, some sort of rookie deal. And we're able to get some real high quality players around them to mentor them and keep growing.
Yo, real quick, talking about academy though, Riley, every time we watch the game, he keeps asking me how one of the academy kids got onto the team. And I have to keep reminding him that Bryce Duke is just short. That's all it is. He's like, Dad, how did that kid get on the field? I want to play. And I'm like, that's Bryce Duke. And
that's
he's like,
man.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I like him. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair.
I just want to see him and Eddie Ascona next to each other playing together. Just two like sub 5'7" dudes. It's bowling balls. Just shifty
I'm all
bowling
for it.
balls.
Yeah, but all right, you know what time it is. We're moving into your favorite segment.
Roll it. I'm gonna have to develop some sort of sound clip to intro into fans only fan questions.
Can you just like rip off like
Only fans.
the Pornhub entrance?
Yeah. All right.
And then boom, only fans.
This is
all right. So Jay, I think we're gonna have different opinions on this. From GXO in our Discord, what would you say the official drink of the Inter Miami podcast is?
Well, Mike. I know some people's names. Well, I mean, I'm going to declare, just because I guess I kind of have the final say in what is the official drink of the Inter Miami podcast, and I'm going to stick with what's been in my blood since the 1900s, and it's bourbon. It's bourbon, baby. I'm having a bourbon right now because it's Friday and it's late at night, and we delayed this episode again a couple of days, but we're going to have fun with it. So I'm sticking with bourbon. I do understand there is relatively a small group of people in South Florida that do like bourbon. You know, it's a lot of aguardiente. It's a lot of rum. And then you got those people out there offering me scotch, and I take it because I'm a gentleman. And Mike knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I would have to say my college years ruined me off of rum. I sometimes smell it and I'm like, nope.
Dude, full disclosure, you get me in the Caribbean or even in South America, and I'm not drinking bourbon. I'm drinking rum drinks with umbrellas in them. I'm losing all my masculinity in the Caribbean.
Could you imagine both you and myself in the Caribbean with like my big ass beard and your man bun on the beach, just sipping drinks with little umbrellas on it?
Yeah, exactly.
Looking awesome. I'm actually gonna go not too far from you. I'm gonna say whiskey. I gotta stick with my whiskey.
What whiskey?
I love whiskey. Huh?
Which whiskey though? What whiskey do you like?
Well, see, this can be tricky because I only have a couple whiskeys I really drink on the regular. It's all stuff from local distilleries back up home. But I'm not really a whiskey snob. I like whiskey. I like bourbon. I like rye. Pretty much across the board. If I have to pick like a mixed drink, if we're going mixed drink all the way, it's a Moscow Mule though. I love me a good Moscow.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
I'd probably go old fashioned or Manhattan, but you know, I'll have a mule every now and then.
In the summertime, you'll see me out here mowing. I've got a mule in my hand. Just do. But anyways, moving on. Joe wants to know, how would you rate the season so far, Jay?
Out of 10? ABC? Like letter grades?
Let's go. Doesn't meet expectations, barely meets expectations, meets, excels or exceeds, something like that.
Well, I mean, I would have to say exceeds expectations, just given where I thought we're going to be dealing with the sanctions. Letter grade wise, I'd go B plus, something like that. Out of 100, I'm going to go with like I don't know, somewhere between like 84 to 89. Been a painful start for sure, but you cannot deny the form we're in and the progress we're making. And given all the negative coverage we got, and I know everyone gets pissed off when we lose games, but I think everyone at the beginning of the season knew that it was going to be a painful 2 years dealing with the sanctions, losing about 20 players, including Lewis Morgan, complete rebuild. These guys have got to get acclimated to the MLS. They've got to become teammates, and the chemistry's got to grow. But now we're sitting above the playoff line a third of the way through the season. So right there, I'm not going to say, A plus if we, we're top 3, maybe 4, and it played well from the beginning of the season, I would go with that. But just because there were those early season struggles, but we were able to kind of regroup and again find that identity. I'm just very, very impressed, and I'm going to stay right around that kind of B plus area. What would you say?
I would say you're right. I'm probably going to go more of like 80 to 85 for me. for me, it's just because I feel like we've let a couple games get away from us where we could have finished it off. However, I'm not in despair with where we're at. As we've already touched on, like I'm stoked. If you had told me we'd be in 7th right now, like cool. All right, here we go. But we also know that we are like 2-3 games away from being an inconsolable mess and having Inter Miami cause us emotional damage. That's another soundbite we need for the soundboard right there.
Yeah, no.
Yes, we need that for the soundboard.
Okay, I like that. Just keep this in mind and just text me.
Yep.
Anyone in our Discord, you hear Ray or Andres or Kalen say something funny, let me know the statement about the minute mark of the game, and I'll be able to isolate that. But yeah, actually, you make a very valid point. A very, very valid point. Given, letting the DC United game slip away, that draw against Philadelphia, where we definitely could have scored 2, I think, at least in that game. And then, of course, the cup game where we score with Moto, then kind of switch off and allow them to convert one to bring it back and go to penalties. I think you're right. Keeping us, again, we would have to have basically been kicking and firing on all cylinders from the beginning of the season to be in the A level territory. The 90s are up. I was leaning more towards B+, but you make a valid point. I'm going to refrain. I'm going to agree more with you, probably like B- just because we let those games slip away. The hope I do have, though, is that we are improving on that, learning from those mistakes. Those mistakes need to happen. Completely new team. Again, keep in mind, this is a refresh build, so some of these hard lessons that we've learned in the first 2 seasons must be reapplied and relearned. So very fair point you make there, and I agree with you wholeheartedly.
But what do we say about the hope, Jay?
It's the hope that kills you.
I think we need to make an Inter Miami podcast shirt that just says that with our faces underneath it or something like that. Final question comes from our boy Branton. Hey. All right. Hey.
It's Pride Week, baby.
It's
Pride Month.
Late. Yeah, it's Pride. It's late on the Inter Miami podcast. Here we go. What are your thoughts on the upcoming transfer window? Will we be active, or do we ride with who we have?
Suarez is coming in the transfer window. So, yeah. That pisses off so many people. Look, I think that at this point, I honestly don't think we need to be that active in the transfer window. If something great pops up, there's a player we identify that Chris really believes in. I think we make that. I don't think we'd make more than probably 3, acquisitions or anything like that. We are pretty thin, so maybe. But I honestly think a lot of this is kind of seeing where we finish at the end of the season, make some moves towards that offseason, and then of course, the following summer we're going to get Messi, of course. So, just Suarez and Messi in 2024. You heard it here first.
So, you mean we're not going after Cavani?
We're not getting Cavani. We're not getting James Rodriguez. It's going to be Luis Suarez. And so we need a backup to Campana because Campana's the man. And Gonzalo has not scored except for a penalty kicks, 2 of them. We're pretty thin. And unless Phil decides to play Robbie as a 9, which I don't see happening, we don't really have anyone to back up that spot. I would love to see a solid number 10 come in. I just don't know if that's going to happen in the summer window. So I'm assuming probably 1 to 2 moves, if any.
Well, I'll tell you the ones I've been seeing pop up the most right now, Rodriguez, James, because he's back in Miami again, and everybody thinks he's on his way.
His mama lives here. His child lives here.
Yeah, and apparently there's some,
and they're like, "Oh, he's got pink hair. He's coming to near Miami."
Right. Yeah, I mean, whatever. But there's also another story going on out there that somehow Beckham is linked with Aguero, trying to talk Aguero coming out of retirement. I know we've touched on it briefly, but I've been seeing it pop up more and more. I don't want to hear Ray Hudson screaming Aguero. I don't. So, I mean, like, whatever. But, jokes aside, my personal take, I don't think we need to be that active. If we can target and identify a solid number 10, sure, go after it. If we have a critical need that comes up out of somewhere, like God forbid, all of a sudden 2 of our defenders go down. Okay, cool. Like, let's look at that. But let's also save let's save the assets we have and go after it when we have time to think. Let's not get a Band-Aid fix right now.
Yeah.
Let's not panic buy somebody.
And I mean, like,
so
keep in mind, Pizarro is still on loan, holding that DP spot. They never really fully announced Matuidi. I'm not sure if he's on holding that DP spot for the year or not. So, the team's trending in the right way. Why you don't need to add anything right now? Maybe a little bit of depth in other, but I don't really necessarily know if there needs to be a massive signing right now. Let's just see how we can finish this season out. But then in the same breath, dude, like, wouldn't surprise me just out of the blue. They're like, oh, like, we're signing Luis Suarez.
I imagine the whole Blaze Matuidi thing, like they're getting ready to do the whole team photos, and then like someone's behind the camera, like, all right, Blaze, just back up, just back up. Just back up, and someone opens the door behind him, just back up, and then they just shut the door and take the team photo. Like, that, I don't know. And it's crazy to me, though, because there's been a lot of folks that have reached out to the podcast Twitter, and they've been like, hey, what's going on with Blaze? And we're like, what do you mean?
He's not on the team, man.
But
that's the club's fault for not announcing like that in a more formal role. Like, hey, he's now the club ambassador. So now we're kind of stuck in this limbo, like, okay, it hasn't been announced. So is that DP spot open, or is he still holding that until the summer window, or God forbid, until the following year? So, or the end of the season. So we don't know. I'll tell you what, I'd be happy if we made some meaningful acquisitions, find a 10. I'd be perfectly happy if we didn't, and just keep navigating through the sanctions with the skeleton crew that we have, man, and we'll take that.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty solid with that. But I mean, that's pretty much all we have. Just real quick, want to shout out our boy Johnny, putting out the best graphics in the game. Check out his Drake calendar graphic from last week, which was loved and shared by the man himself. Shout out to all of the supporter groups. We love you. We are men of the people. We do not belong to one. We belong to all. Jay, where can they find us online?
On Twitter at EnterMI Podcast, on Instagram at EnterMiami Podcast. And yeah, we keep getting questions. No, we're not in any supporters groups. We are simply humble servants of the people. But as we end every single episode, thank you so much for listening. Vamos, Miami.
Vamos, Miami.